Welcome back to Daniel Glyn Questionable. My guest here is Elvis impersonator and comedian and former PE teacher. I'm an Elvis impersonator. Elvis tribute act.
There we go.
I can see why people take it deadly seriously. Yeah. But you're impersonating Elvis, though.
I'm not impersonating him, am I?
All right, no.
He died in 1977, August 16th.
All right, okay. What's your favourite era of Elvis?
70s.
Is it?
Every time, yeah. So 69 to 75.
Well, when was it when he did a comeback special when he's all dressed in black and leathers? Yeah, that. Yeah. I like that.
Did that going into the early mid-70s?
Is it?
That's the time, yeah.
It's apparently, allegedly, Tom Jones's fault that Elvis went a bit, because Tom had told Elvis, stop touring and this, that and the other, just go to Vegas. You only have to be in the same place. What could possibly go wrong?
Colonel, mate, the Colonel. I interviewed his tour manager last year, who was like Colonel Tom Parker's right-hand man. And he was saying that one of the reasons that Elvis did so much stuff in Vegas was that Elvis, the Colonel, was addicted to gambling. And he had a deal with the casinos where he'd only lose 50 cents on the dollar. So if he lost 10 grand, they'd only take $5 grand out of his account, you know. So they put Elvis in a suite upstairs. He'd do 2 shows a night in the casino. And the Colonel would be just gambling.
Right.
Yeah.
I got an Elvis cookbook, as you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
I got an Elvis cookbook, and there's one where you get a whole loaf of bread unsliced, hollow it out, and then fill it full of bacon.
Right.
I tried it as well. Fill it full of bacon and maple syrup and peanut butter.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lush.
Nice, yeah. It's lovely, isn't it?
So then when you look at Elvis, you think, no wonder.
Comfort food.
Yeah, lovely. Now then, you talked about, I didn't realise that you started doing comedy before you started becoming an Elvis tribute act as well. Well, how did you get yourself into stand-up comedy?
Well, I wrote a script. I'd written a couple of scripts. I saw some stuff on TV that I liked, and I'd always been into sort of writing anyway, you know. So I wrote a couple of scripts and sent them off to BBC, and you know, had some nice feedback for a first script or two, which was nice. So I was teaching at the time, obviously. I said to my wife, you know, I'd like to maybe do more of this and see where this goes. So I booked in to do a script writing, only a little one-day course in Planover Arts.
Planover Hall?
Yeah, just
on Romney Road, just around the corner. Romney Road.
So
made in Cardiff TV.
Turn up for that.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, it was the wrong week, or they got the dates wrong. So it was a stand-up comedy course. So I sort of fell into it. There was literally about 3 or 4 of us there, you know. And the girl running it was awful. She was really bad.
That must have been an inspiration itself.
Well, that was the thing, you know. I said, do you gig? She was like, yeah, I've done a few gigs. I said, do you ever die? She went, oh, I've died quite a few times. Yeah, I thought, yeah, I bet you have. So I finished that, and I got nothing from that other than, because it was like how to turn a microphone on and stuff.
Yeah.
She had a flip chart, and it was all a bit weird. So I came out of that and said to my wife, I can do that. I can do it better than that.
When did you start?
Yeah, well, I didn't start in 2008. So
2008? 6 years ago.
6 years ago. I did that. Did an open mic night in Newport.
So that was your first gig?
My first gig.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you know what it's like? I was horrendous my first gig. Nerves were something chronic. Looking back at it, I mean, I got my first routine written down on paper back at the house, right? And a lot of stories based around the knob, I've noticed, which I don't do anymore. But I mean, I couldn't think at the time. I couldn't think of how you could do a comedy that wasn't about knobs.
Yeah.
It just blew my mind that could happen. Yeah. So moved on from the knob gags, and I got told to do not told, but I got advised to do a competition called So You Think You're Funny. I applied for that. There was a heat up in, used to be the Hawaiian, used to have a comedy night in Cardiff. Did that, sort of won that round, went to Edinburgh in 2008 for the festival. Just started doing comedy.
So you did a show in Edinburgh?
Well, I did a 10-minute competition. And like Sean Walsh was in it, and Daniel Sloss and people like that. It was a good comp. I think Sean won it.
Well, I remember the first time I saw you was, didn't go and see you, I paid to see you, I paid to see Rich Hall.
Don't blame me.
Yeah, Rich Hall was playing, and Rich Hall had been delayed.
I got that phone call as well, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'd obviously just got a phone call, can you come in and fill in there?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking then, I wonder what this is going to be like. Really enjoyed it. Well,
you got to say that. I mean,
not really, no. I could have just not said this story, couldn't I?
That's true enough.
Yeah.
True enough.
What I enjoyed about it as well is it's obviously you can do the sort of, you know, all the sort of hipster, you know, they got their tattoos and their beards and they're sort of doing their little jokes, the young lads, young dumb full of cum jokes, like, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I'd imagine you can do working men's clubs or whatever the equivalent is these days.
Yeah, I mean, that's just experience though, isn't it? You know, if you're doing a cricket club or a golf club or a comedy club or a whatever.
I like to hear about people dying on their ass.
It's a comic thing, isn't it?
I love hearing. It's actually more interesting to me.
I'll tell you then, I did a gig, my mate, it wasn't even a paid gig. My mate Tom, he married a girl from Exeter. I hadn't seen her for 10 years. And he phoned me up and said, get married back in Exeter, Babs. I said, that'd be nice. He said, love to be the wedding. I said, that'd be nice. Yeah, of course, yeah. I'll bring your wife. He said, you're doing stand-up now, aren't you? I said, well, yeah, I've done a bit. This was still fairly early days. He said, just do you want to do a bit at the wedding? I said, it doesn't work at a wedding. I turned up for this wedding with Kelly, and it was he didn't tell me that his wife is quite well off. His dad's fairly well off. His dad's best friend is the Bishop of Exeter, right? So when he says we're getting married in Exeter, he means we're getting married in Exeter Cathedral, right? So we get down there, Exeter Cathedral, with the Bishop of Exeter doing the service, right? So we get to this hotel, and the best man got up and did probably the worst best man speech I've ever heard in my life, right? And it was dead. I mean, like I said, probably 60 people there, average age 70. And he said to me, get up and do a bit now. I went, he said, no, please, mate, please, can I? I was, shit. I was, all right, yeah, okay, I'll do it. So he gets me up. Just after this horrific best man speech, right? Just to do stand-up with no microphone, no nothing, right? 4 o'clock in the afternoon, all these elderly posh people, right? And sat like 8 feet in front of me in a cassock and a crucifix is the Bishop of Exeter, right? Just staring at me like this. And then I'm not making this up, her dad was blind and almost totally deaf, right? So the only way you could hear anything going on at the wedding was the bride's mother had a shout in his ear, right? But this was still early days for me. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of material. So I remember just standing up there, going bright red, and the Bishop of Exeter's like 10 feet away, and this woman going, and then he fingered her. Horrific. So that gig takes a bit of beating.
I didn't know where that was going to go.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That wasn't good.
That's good.
That wasn't good.
Memorable one.
No cash.
Would you, because obviously it's all to do with hindsight, what advice would you give yourself from 2008 or whatever? If you're going to start again now, what wouldn't you do? What would you do differently?
A gig more, definitely. I would have cared less about what people thought as well. Mm. You know, it's lovely to get to a stage now where you genuinely, you want the audience to enjoy it, but you can't worry about that at the same time. You know, you'd never gig.
But isn't it, you know, from what I can see as well, is if the comedian on stage is dying on his ass, the comedians backstage are loving it.
Oh, I love it. There's nothing better. There is nothing better. I love nothing more than if you turn up at a venue, and especially if it's a private gig. You know, most comedy clubs are pretty much switched on. There's good and there's bad, but when you're doing a private booking for someone who thinks they think they can put a comedy night on, and they haven't got a clue how to do it, right? And you know it's going to be a stinker. And because I've been going for a little while now, I'm usually going to go on last on those sort of gigs, right? Well, then I'll be with comics who maybe haven't been gigging for as long, who are going to go on first and second. And this is going to be terrible. I said, yeah, it is. What are you going to do? I said, I'm going to sit right in the front row. And I'll just sit there and love it, just watching it, reveling in it, because, you know, we're sick people, aren't we?
Yeah.
People love car crash TV, people love gigs going badly. And other comics love gigs going badly more than anybody else.
That's true, very true. Have you noticed recently as well, all of a sudden Cardiff does seem to have a proper comedy scene now as well?
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, where's that come from then?
I don't know, really.
It's nothing to do with you or me, is it?
No, exactly. No, well, I said to the boys who run the Cardiff Comedy Festival, I said, I've played, you know, I've done the Edinburgh Festival twice. I've done Leeds Festival, Reading Festival. I've done the Green Man Festival. I've done the Northampton Festival. I've done the Sheffield Comedy Festival. I said, the only festival in Britain I haven't done is the Cardiff Comedy Festival, and it's the only one I can walk to. Right?
What I find as well is, because I'm older as well, if I'm doing these gigs, is they do treat you like an old man. So they ask if you're okay, if you want a lift home, do you want a cup of tea?
Yeah. Are you warm enough?
Are you warm enough?
It is,
yeah. You all right, mate?
Put the heat up a bit for you.
You did really well.
Well done.
Really well done, yeah. As you know, I studied journalism for 6 years.
You did?
And so I've got some I've done the sort of easy question. I've got some hard-hitting questions here now as well. I do like these. I do like these. These can go either way. Where are they?
You've gone past them twice.
Have I?
Yeah.
Here we go. Ready? Mike Bubbins. What's your favourite colour?
Green. Forest green.
Why?
I like
See, that's the hard-hitting bit. Why?
Green Bay Packers.
Is that American
NFL team.
American football?
Yeah.
Are you an American football fan?
Big fan.
You actually do like your Americana. You've got a sort of, what's your car?
Oh, that's a Cortina Mark III, but it looks like
It looks American, doesn't it?
looks like a 4 GT a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, okay, that was a good one. What's your favourite food?
Oh, good one.
It is, thanks, mate.
Souvlaki.
Ah, why souvlaki?
So I used to live near Greektown in Toronto, so I've really got souvlaki there.
Can you cook?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah?
Pretty good.
What's your signature dish? You've really messed up at home. You want to make things better. What do you cook?
Something nice and simple. Some nice Mediterranean vegetables roasted with some, I don't know, nice chicken or nice bit of fish, whatever.
So if there's a waft of fish and Mediterranean vegetables coming from your house, we know something's gone wrong.
Yeah, don't come in.
Don't come in.
Do not come in.
You're not welcome. Say now, you've got to stop being a stand. You haven't, okay? But say now you have to stop being a stand-up, yeah?
Right.
What would you do now?
I'd write, I think. I'd go back to
No,
writing.
it's nothing showbiz. You
Nothing
can't
showbiz?
do that, sorry, you know.
I'd love to be a carpenter.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can
I'd
you
love to do
can
that.
you carpent?
I can carpent.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've carpented lots of stuff.
Can you really?
I used to love it. When I was in school, I used to love carpentry, and then I've always said that if, when I get the big house in the country, I'll have a workshop in there, and my lathe and my tools and make stuff, and I'd love to do that, yeah.
That's what it'd be. Whittling away.
Whittling away.
Yeah, I know my phrases.
I'm a whittler.
Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you very much. Mike Bubbins, everyone.
Well,
Right. Believe it or not, we will be back. Thank you very much to Mike Bubbins for joining us. Thank you very much for watching. This is Daniel Glynn, being questionable from Made in Cardiff. No start. Diolch yn fawr.